Hey, I think we're live. Are we live? How come I can't see it on my own page? Oh, there it is. Okay, good. Let's turn this all the way down. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Comic Artist Pro Secrets. I am Ethan Van Sciver. Haven't done a live chat in a long time. It's been at least 5 days. It's been ages. But I thought I would do one now. Today, yesterday I just finished Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps number 42. I stayed up until 7 a.m. to meet a deadline. I'm sure none of you have ever had to do that before. I mean, I worked from, it must have been 8 a.m. to 7 a.m. the next day. And I drew, and I drew, and I drew. And I spent the whole week drawing, not doing very many YouTube videos at all, which kind of hurts. I really, really love doing YouTube videos. But sometimes there's just no time. And it's usually right at the end of a deadline where you just have to crank. Hey, everyone. Hey, Alex, the Comic Order. Thank you. And that's the thing. So now that the book is done, I can actually do some commissions, and I can do more videos and things that I really like and start, planning stuff. I'm planning big events. All right, so, by the way, if you haven't seen the Rainbow Brute stuff that I've done, I think I did a new video yesterday where I drew a Rainbow Brute image. I'm thinking that's going to be a Patreon thing now. I'm thinking what can I offer for Patreon where people can there's a reason to go to Patreon and there's a reason there's something you can unlock. And that would be actually a really cool thing because then you could just pay $1. You would get, 15 pages of Rainbow Brute. I think what I would do is I would do it like a storybook. Every day, or every time I posted, I would do a Rainbow Brute image and then I don't know, a story. Maybe I'd write a little story, but you would get to kind of go on this adventure with Rainbow Brute that would last all year long. So it would be, kind of like a comic book, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm working it out, but it'd be kind of like what I'm doing already, where it's I've just in 2 frames I've told 5 seconds of Rainbow Brute's story. So if we just kept doing that, I could introduce all of these other characters that I want to introduce, and then tell the story that I wanted to tell about Rainbow Brute. I don't know. It might be fun. And then at some point it could be published as a comic or something like that. I don't really know. Dustin Jones says, wow, you're milking this Rainbow Brute thing. People like it. And the thing about it is that I've had this idea for a long time, and it's impossible to do in any real way. I want to do a book where you take all of these old girls' toy properties from the 1980s, make it a shared Game of Thrones style universe, and then just kind of tell a story and make it for boys, aim it at boys. I don't know, so how do you do that? Well, you have to do it as a parody, and I don't know. I could do it, if I were going to publish it as a comic book, I would have to do it as pure parody. But if I were going to do it the way I want to do it on Patreon, I could do it the way I want to do it, as fan art and fanfic, and I can actually use the real names of the characters. And I could actually show them and just say, hey, it's just fan art. What are you going to do? I'm not really selling it. I'm just selling access to looking at it. So it just seems like it could be more pure that way. Alex the Comic Order says, Patreon secret chats and bonus material would get me interested in backing. Yeah, I know. That's what I think I'm going to do. And Patreon really starts tomorrow. Tomorrow's the first of the month. So if you haven't already subscribed, you should. There's going to be content up starting tomorrow. All right, so let's talk about this. I did a thing on Twitter yesterday where I just said, if I were going to do my own indie book, and I only gave you 2 options. There are other, things I have in mind. But if it was going to be Rainbow Brute or CYBERFROG, which one would it be? Which one would you rather see? And I opened it up to one of those kind of Twitter votes, like a Twitter poll. And I can't believe the way this turned out. I honestly was stunned by it, and it pretty much stayed this way the whole time. There was never a point where it was clear what it was going to be, and what was in the lead, what was winning. And here's where it ended. I mean, look at that, just 50 to 50. But as it turns out, by a very, very small, like, micro fraction, CyberFrog won. So, I mean, I guess that's what it's going to be. It's going to be CyberFrog. And I have this great story for CyberFrog's return that I wanted to do forever, where, CyberFrog's been hibernating for 20 years. He steps out of the 90s into this current year. And, the world's changed quite a bit. But I've had this story forever. It's great. I mean, it's really cool. It's called Blood Honey. And I can't wait to do it. Yes, Handlebar Fox, I do own the rights to CyberFrog again. I got him back in 2002. So I've just been sitting on him, not really doing anything. But yeah, now's the time, I think. I just feel like it. I feel it. I feel for this character, especially considering a bunch of things. Look, I mean, you have to follow kind of meme culture at some point. You can say meme magic and memetics are just nonsense. They're just, internet crap. But seriously, when I came up with CyberFrog and when I named him Fascist Frog, was I predicting current year, like this current year, or what? I mean, it's so strange. It's like now there are people who actually go CyberFrog. Oh, yeah, it's alt-right. Well, no. I mean, I came up with him in 1993. But what's even more amazing is this particular comic book. You want to talk about two kind of spirit animals for the right wing right now. Just at this particular moment, what are those two kind of spirit animals? Let me fix this here. Frogs and lobsters. Now, this comic book has frogs and it has lobsters. Jordan Peterson, sir? Yeah. I read you loud and clear. All right, so this is CyberFrog versus Creed. Somebody just said, do you know Trent has a YouTube channel? Yeah, Trent was doing these cool animated kind of stories earlier. I haven't seen anything that he's done lately, though. I'm not sure if he is still producing content. But yeah, Trent and I were kind of rivals in the 90s. We started out working at the same company, Hall of Heroes, and then we kind of branched off. I took CyberFrog to Harris Comics. He took Creed to Lightning. And it was very, very kind of, I don't know, there was a lot of competition. Trent was definitely getting way more attention at Lightning doing Creed. Way more attention. Everyone loved Creed. Here he is here. I mean, DC put out a book called Impulse, and Impulse looked a lot like Creed, and Creed came first, just with the big feet and this hairdo. Trent was kind of like, hey, what the F? But this character just kind of caught on, and it was the 90s. Micro says, EVS, how goes it? It goes good. Yeah, Darkbat says he looks like Impulse. No kidding. I mean, that was so weird. Like, Humberto Ramos might have been influenced by Trent Kanuga. Can't be sure. But maybe. Trent actually did do some samples for Impulse, which I thought would be a layup. Like, I was working on Impulse, and I said, boy, you could come over and do a couple fill-in issues. Thank you for the super chat, Unbuggable. I appreciate it. It is always a pleasure to see you guys, to join you. And anyway, Trent did these samples for Impulse, and they weren't very good. So he didn't actually end up doing a fill-in issue on the book. But during this time, we kept thinking, boy, our fans were kind of bugging us. Like, his fans would come up to me, and my fans would come up to him, and they'd kind of say, you guys should really do, like, a comic book where you guys are competing. It would be like the WWF or WWE, but then it was the WWF. So we finally actually convinced Harris Comics to do this, And this was a good payday for both of us. I mean, Trent was happy to do this. We decided that we'd split up the book. Trent didn't want to write it. I think he kind of co-plotted it with me, and I scripted it, and I drew, I think, half of it, and he drew the other half. But yeah, we got this great. This was my cover. He did his own cover. This is 1997, I think. Only problem was, it's in black and white. I think Harris wouldn't splurge for the color, which is a shame. Story and art, Ethan Van Sciver. Let's see, 12 pages, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 pages by me. And that's like almost a whole book. And Trent did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It looks like Trent only did 11. So 40-page book, and I did most of it. No, 30-page book. Yeah, 30-page book, and I did most of it. Here's the thing. I used to go to New York City all the time, and Watchman says, "Hello, Ethan. Sorry I'm late. I was busy tweeting my new friend John Mallon." Good. Timecode Mechanics. Thank you for the super chat. Trent does a book called Twilight Monk now. Yeah, I saw that, and I think that might be what the animated kind of stuff that he was doing was. It's really good. I mean, Trent, he's a great designer. He's got a great intuitive kind of creative mind, and he is something else. And yeah, I should do an interview with Trent. I never even thought of that. You just blew my mind. I never even thought of getting Trent on this channel and doing an interview with him, but we could talk about the old times. That would be fun. Yeah, so this is all in black and white. This looks pretty good to me. I have to say, I haven't looked at this book in forever. I do remember I was living in Portland, Oregon when I was drawing it, and I was really getting serious about things. Look at this 1-point perspective here. I think it's accurate. I think I actually did do 1-point perspective almost properly. And then you look at the little cars and the traffic down here, and they completely suck. I barely just sketched them in. But you can see the shadows, the shadow of a lobster over here. And I used to go to New York City, and while I was there, I was I'm going to take a lot of pictures of buildings. And I would take pictures of buildings that I would use for reference, like this. I mean, this kind of a thing takes a long time to kind of do when you're inking with rapidographs, which I think I was. Maybe some Pigma marker too up here. Yeah, a lot of reflective surfaces too. Somebody just pointed that out. These globes on his shoulders, I mean, were just great for showing what's in front of him and what's behind him. So if something was creeping up on CYBERFROG, you could use the reflective surface and these kind of chromium globes on his shoulders to show that to people, which I thought was a pretty handy little storytelling device. All right, so we turn the page. Now, I decided, I don't know why, this is so stupid. I don't know where any of my ideas came from, but they are dumb. I decided I wanted CYBERFROG to fight giant lobsters because I just wanted to draw lobsters. So I went to the grocery store and I bought some live lobsters, and I set them free in my kitchen, and in my little 1-bedroom apartment kitchen, and I just started photographing them because I wanted to draw all the stupid. I didn't even eat them. I didn't know how to cook a lobster. It's stupid. So I had all these crazy lobsters. They stunk up my house, and I kept them kind of as pets until they died. I mean, they didn't even get eaten. These were expensive. They were I think they were $25 each. And, that's where a portion of the money for this went. As you can see here, CYBERFROG kind of coming down on the lobsters. This is great. They're influenced by, a lot of the 90s kind of image books that were coming out at the time. Trying to Kiss Wizard's Rear End. Wizard Magazine, by the way. This was the thing about the 90s. Everybody wanted to get in Wizard, the guide to comics, And so what you would do is you would put a reference, like if you were working for Image or something like that, you'd put a reference, you'd draw Garib Sheamus or something like that, just hoping that they'd say, yeah. And then they would mention, they'd mention your book, and that would be a big deal. So I tried to do it here, and somebody put a big word balloon right over it anyway, so you could see that it just says Ward. It doesn't say wizard anymore. Like, they could have put the word balloon here maybe, but or here, but no, they put it right there, and they covered up my attempt to kiss Wizard Magazine's ass, and therefore, yeah, I didn't get any credit for that. Now, I will say though, I mean, this is, it's okay. I mean, you can look at this, like right here. I would never do this anymore. Look at the cleanliness of this line here. This is all French curve, and if you guys, I'm sure some of you that draw, this is a French curve, and so instead of just kind of having a steady hand and being like that, and then whatever it is, and then it would look kind of more real. Like, this is the kind of thing that you would do for metal. Like, if you were going to draw a helicopter or a car, you would use a French curve to make sure the curvy lines were just perfect. Thanks for the super chat, Justin saying, I've been busy and wish I could support you more, Uncle Ethan. Keep up the great content. Thank you, Justin. That's diaper money. I appreciate it very much. I'm going to take a video of me buying diapers with my super chat money. Don't do this. Use this for things that are kind of man-made. Don't use this for anything that's sentient. It just looks weird. Like, this looks weird to me. It's so perfect and clean, and it shouldn't look like that. And in the meantime, it's like the cars. Look at the cars that they're stomping on down here. These are all done kind of freehand. And then, there's a ruler here, and then you have it just, I don't know, it doesn't work. These people running here. Too much. And yeah, here's our frog. This is what I kind of developed. I decided what he would do is the character himself. He's called CYBERFROG because there's a robot that, like the spaceship that brought him to Earth, is still sitting in a swamp somewhere, and it's kind of doing this kind of navigation thing where it locates harm, it locates where CYBERFROG needs to be, and it programs him to go be there, and also to supply him with the weapons he'll need to fight any kind of criminal. So you could see these, like, he's growing guns here. He's like, little weapons show up and he's going to shoot the lobster with these weapons. And my writing is so stupid. Oh my God. Sorry, Charlie. Oh, everything has to be a reference to something else. It's so dumb. In the meantime, we cut to another crowd of people. There's an Amish man. I had this whole thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to do a comic about the Amish, and they were going to attack the world, like the Amish people, and they were going to have weapons and vehicles that were made out of wood. So, like, this guy would have, like, this, like, kind of, I don't know, like, airplane kind of jetpack kind of thing, that would be made entirely, like, wagon wheel, like that kind of technology, and they were just going to be, like, kick-ass Amish. Here's my German teacher in high school. He used to kind of be a little bit flirty with me. His name was Herr Wagner. Look at this. Who just grabbed my buttocks? He's like, sorry. Yeah, that's kind of how he was. This was the 90s. Handlebar Fox, thank you for the super chat. Doing my part to help keep the world clean. Brother, that's what we do around here. So yeah, there's this guy got his rear end, his tuchus pinched. He was sexually harassed by this man right here. Creed didn't notice that. He didn't care. This is Mark. His name is, he is from the book Creed. He's got a little frog on his shoulder, and his frog talks. And his frog is saying, hey, his frog is from the dream world and can transform, by the way, into a dragon. So Mark is having a conversation with his frog, and he wants to do something about the giant lobsters, but the frog is like, hey, leave it to CYBERFROG. He's doing fine. Yeah, with arms wide open. That band was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. Oh wait, do you see Tim Doyle in this crowd? Let me see. Nah. I got some goofy looking people in the crowd, but Tim Doyle's not one of them. Yeah, so again, thank you very much for letting me have these lobsters roaming around in my kitchen, because this is a beautifully drawn, very realistic lobster. I mean, this is what it looked like as it died on my kitchen floor in Portland, Oregon. Yeah, I gotta say, I am very happy with that, and I like CyberFrog just shooting the heck out of him with his guns until one of them does what they do. I mean, it just whacks him right out of the sky, and he says, "Oofa, oofa." And of course, he just says cannonball as he flies into the crowd of people, and Creed says, "Holy." And we're gonna go over there, and we're gonna meet. This is where our two characters meet for the first time. CJ, and I guess the frog's name is CJ. He says, "Hey, he's a frog." I don't necessarily. I don't know. I don't know where you would necessarily draw that conclusion. Like, I don't think the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles necessarily look like turtles either. They don't. I mean, except for the turtle shell. I wouldn't say that CyberFrog looks like a frog. He looks like something else. Let's see. Justin Sand says, EVS, something you and I don't think about a lot is how much your style reflects the style of the day. Looking back, you were more adaptive in the style than I thought. Yeah, well, at some point, you break away from all your influences and kind of do your own thing. But at this point, I was sitting there looking at Dale Keown, looking at Jim Lee, looking at Mark Silvestri, Todd McFarlane, and saying, I want to be exactly like those guys. So that's all here. I mean, when you're a kid, you tend to be more of a follower than a leader, and then eventually you get the confidence to do your own thing. So CyberFrog introduces himself, and he uses his name, and his name is Trick Ron. Trick Ron, Trikk. Ron. Rana is the classification for frog, and Trick, obviously, a mistake, a joke. So his real name is Trick Ron. That's his alien birth name. And yeah, he just says, "Get away from me, kid! You bother me." His arm is black, silhouetted. It shouldn't be, probably. And Mark pretty much gets it right. He says, "What a total jerk! I helped him." And the frog thinks it's funny. Meanwhile, let's go to another splash page here of CyberFrog on top of the lobster. This is just great stuff. Fighting this lobster. He's got both of these. I don't know what these are. I don't know what they're for. They're kind of lobster antenna, and he's doing everything that he can. This is good. Let me look at it closely here. We've got a lobster claw up here. That looks good too. It really does help to use reference, guys. I mean, even if if you're gonna, yeah. Oh, thank you, Andre, for the. Did I pronounce that right? For the super chat. That's a nice super chat. Thank you for the diaper fund. What do you think of this? Does this look good, or is this just me? I like this. I like this texture I created here. Look at that. It's kind of broken. I mean, this must have taken forever, because what I would do is I would just kind of draw little kind of shapes and then color them black and just make them really close to each other. It's not like this is white out or anything like that. Interesting. Lord Henry says, Third Eye Blind or Creed? I don't like either of those bands. I never did. Who sucks, Creed or Nickelback? Robert Munoz. They both suck really, really badly. Terrible music. Yeah, the 90s was weird. Like, it was good the first 4 or 5 years of the 90s, had really, really good alternative music, and then the second half was just garbage. With the return of boy bands and things like that, like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. Britney Spears showed up. I thought she was interesting, but other than that, yeah. Silverchair. Oof. You know what? Like, Silverchair is funny because their book was called Frog Stomp. I mean, their first album was called Frog Stomp. I was gifted that CD, that horrible CD, by at least 10 fans at conventions. They all thought it was funny that, hey, I got you this Silverchair CD. And Silverchair, they were these kids that were imitating Nirvana. Like, they were little young teenagers that were trying to be like Nirvana. And and they did a kind of Nirvana sounding album. They tried to look like Nirvana. Their videos, they acted like Nirvana. And then they disappeared, but they came back like early in the next decade with a new album that sounded completely different, and it was really weird. And I remember pissing everyone off on the Bendis. Everyone complains about my behavior on Brian Michael Bendis's message board. I thought I was very clever and erudite, but no, they didn't like it. Somebody like posted a link to a music video of Silverchair in like 2001 and said, wow, listening to this must be like what it sounded like in the 60s when the Beatles started experimenting. And it sounded like garbage. And I responded, it's more like what makes me feel like when Dr. Mengele was experimenting. And everyone got mad at me. Everyone got mad at me for comparing Silverchair to Dr. Mengele. I thought it was an apt comparison. You can go listen to that kind of experimental Silverchair stuff and tell me if you think it's more like the Beatles or more like a Nazi scientist from the 1940s. All right, so back to the story. Does anyone else have any questions about pop music in the 90s? Now, Shinto Ketchup says Nirvana ruined the 90s, and I don't think that that's true. I mean, I think Nirvana was an absolute North Star of the 90s in terms of music. I think they really did great stuff. And the loss of Kurt Cobain was devastating. But you guys are listing these like presidents of the United States of America, where everything was kind of like proto SJW. Like everything was twee and cutesy and not very sincere. Like that song, Millions of Peaches, Peaches for Me. And everybody would be kind of like, it's a song about wanting peaches. And it's like, yeah, things are going bad here. Like these people... These are children that are not growing up and assuming adult form, and this is not going to go well. And here we are in 2018, current year, and has it gone well? And you can blame it on, I think, the pop band's fake Nirvana-influenced crap of the 90s. And Nirvana was great, but everything that wanted to be Nirvana, discordant, horrible crap, fake music, corporate music of the late 90s was garbage. I mean, it was really bad. Smashing Pumpkins were good. I like Billy Corgan. He's a nice guy too. And yes, I've met him a few times. He's a very practical man. And you can't blame Britney Spears. Britney Spears was only leading the way into the next decade. She was like, okay, look, I'm going to get us out of this grungy nonsense and kind of be sugary pop music for the next generation, the next decade. And it was fine. She had to do that. Christina Aguilera didn't have to do it, but Britney Spears really did need to do that for us. Yeah. And listen, she's great. Ethan Van Staley. You know what's weird is that's creepy because my sister's first husband's last name was Staley. All right, so anyway, yeah. Oh, this is actually pretty good too. So the frog jumps off Creed's shoulder and look, becomes a dragon. Look at this dragon that I drew. That's not bad. I like the frog kind of, look. Dun, 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 dun. Boom, dragon. And suddenly, there's a dragon. And CYBERFROG says what I would say in that case. What the? Yeah. Danzig. Danzig is better than Nirvana. Now, why would you say that? In what universe is Danzig better than Nirvana? I mean, yeah. Somebody says, did you pencil and ink it all back then? Yeah, I did. I got an inker when I went to DC Comics, and then I stopped doing that as soon as I could. I really do prefer to ink my own work. Danzig is better than Nirvana. Fact. Mother, tell your children not to walk my way. I don't know. That guy used to bother me at when I'd see him at conventions. Glenn Danzig, like he had some kind of issue with me, and I don't know. Yeah, I used to see him. He'd be like, "Yo, Ethan Van Sciver." I'd be like, I mean, I don't know. It's always like I have people that know me, like rock stars that know me that I don't like. I wish there were people that I liked. Like I wish Depeche Mode knew who I was. That would be cool. Who else do I wish Kurt Cobain had known who I was. That would be cool too. Mother is their best song. Yeah. Tool was interesting. Yeah, I'm Not Tyler says, remember there was talk of Glenn Danzig playing Wolverine. There was, and he could have been good. He's short, he was muscular, and yeah, he could have done it. Here's the thing, everyone's talking about Depeche Mode. Depeche Mode at the time, people like I think when Violator came out, people kind of looked down on them a little bit, but then it wasn't until like a decade later where like you've got Marilyn Manson covering Personal Jesus, everybody's covering Personal Jesus, and Depeche Mode songs and treating them with respect and making them heavy. Yeah, Depeche Mode was always good. They were always good. What happened to Depeche Mode? Good question. Did you hear their new album? It was horrible. I had tickets, I sold them. I was so depressed. I didn't even want to go see them. So I have to kind of just, you say, separate the art from the artist, but what if they're actively putting that like left wing Rachel Maddow stuff in their music? Then what? Then what do you do? It's not good. Did one of them go trans? No, none of them went trans. That I know of. Yeah. Timecode Mechanic says, why did people not like Depeche Mode? Well, they thought they were for girls. When I was in high school, Depeche Mode was for girls and very preppy boys. And I liked Depeche Mode. I liked Iron Maiden and I liked Depeche Mode and Metallica. And also like The Cure. So I liked all that stuff. I thought it all sounded like it belonged together. But other people didn't. And yeah. 9 Inch Nails is still good. I agree. The dragon blows fire to frighten his foe. All right. That's a Cheerios commercial from the 50s. So they cook the lobsters. CYBERFROG shoots his tongue out, wraps him up. Look how far his tongue can stretch, by the way. Now, CYBERFROG's tongue implants little time bombs. I think I'm gonna remove that aspect of CYBERFROG's powers. I don't think his tongue does that anymore. But here it does, and moment of silence, please. An explosion not at the World Trade Center, next to the World Trade Center. You can tell. I mean, this is crazy. It's very sad. The World Trade Center was part of the skyline in the 90s. I used to see it all the time. And now, it's gone. Yeah. Respect for the World Trade Center. I'm reading your stuff. Up the irons. I stopped listening to Iron Maiden after Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I really do think that was the last good Iron Maiden album. What do you guys think? I don't know. After that, it just got weird. Unranked Chevron, welcome to the live chat. I tried to find New X-Men 118 today at my local comic shop. They didn't have it, but they did have some of your other New X-Men issues. That doesn't surprise me. I really do think New X-Men 118 is going to be one of those strange collector's items just because of, what we know about it now. Okay, so anyway, the lobsters blow up, and then, yay, hooray, lobsters are gone. And then everybody starts getting pelted with lobster meat. Look at these people. Here's a skater. This is the thing in New York. Like, they used to have these idiots that would be in tight little pants and a helmet and like, inline skating. They would just kind of go zip, and they'd be, like, right in your face. Like, I don't know how they would do this. But they'd be, I don't know, they zip around in traffic. So I had this guy get pelted with lobster meat. Look at him. What the hell? Ah! I want people to say, what the hell? Ah! Like people that I don't like. What the hell? Ah! And then this is what should happen. Then a taxi makes him do a little cartwheel in the air. And then he's dead on top of the taxi cab. And look, he's spurting blood from his kneecap here. Yeah. And the cabbie's just like, hey, this stuff's edible. And he's just eating the lobster. Like, he's not aware that there's a dead skater on top of his on top of his cab. Yeah, tight little pants, says Watchman. Nobody forced you to stare at them. I disagree. You're all over the place. It's like you're in my way. You're making me dodge you. I cannot help but notice. I'm sorry, I have to look at this again. I wish these 4 panels were right in a row. Guy skating, gets hit with lobster meat, hot lobster meat, gets hit by a cab, does the somersault in midair. He's dead. He's lying in a puddle of his own blood and piss on top of the cab. And he's broken his leg. Like, I like the idea of his leg being broken behind him a little bit. And then, the cabbie just doesn't care. And, this is the thing. Here's me eating some lobster right there. Everyone's eating lobster meat, and CYBERFROG is just like, hey. He's like, they're eating the bad guys. This would never happen in Tokyo. No, I don't think it would. If you cooked Godzilla and blew him up, would people be eating chunks of his flesh? I don't think so. Probably not. Yeah, and people are now mad because there's no drawn butter. And Creed says, hey, can I ask, this isn't bad, I like this. Can I ask you something? And he says, no. Why is CYBERFROG so mean? When I do CYBERFROG, like, again, he's going to be a lot nicer. He's going to be very polite. And this isn't the ending. Someone said, what a bizarre ending. No, this is just the first act. And he leaves Creed and the dragon. And suddenly, thank goodness, Trent Kanuga takes over the artwork. And look at Trent drawing the lobster meat falling down from the sky. He says, I don't believe it, CJ. What don't you believe? He said, I'm useless. I just stood here like a lump while that frog dork and you beat the living crap out of those lobsters. I really suck. Self-pity gets real old real fast, Mark. That is true. I used to say that kind of thing to Trent all the time. Yeah. So anyway, Creed, one of the lobster's claws crushes Creed. Knocks him out. The way that Creed would go to the Dreamland. This, by the way, is artist Trent Kanuga. If I didn't make that clear, this is not my work anymore. Trent has taken over. These are his pages. Creed would go to the Dreamland by being knocked out or falling asleep, and then he would go to the Dream World, which is where he is now. And here's chapter 2. This is all Trent, Malice in Wonderland. Look how great Trent is. And here we have our 2 villains. Okay, so my villain that's Ben Reilly, Deathfly, and this is a villain that Trent had created called Disorder. Really good name. And Creed can grow claws, and his claws don't work on Disorder for some reason. I don't know. But Ben Reilly has his amulet that turns him into Deathfly, and he offers it to Creed. He says, here, put on the amulet. And so Creed is hypnotized. He says, yes. He puts on the amulet. What are we doing here? I haven't read this in 20 years. Look at Trent's CYBERFROG. Look at the detail here. This is wonderful. Look at the creepy, kind of crawly. Yeah, that's really nice. And he's tapping on the window. Heather Swain is in there sleeping with a stuffed frog. Heather Swain is CYBERFROG's only friend. Oh, look at this. Statted panel from Trent. Statted. Yeah, and then look, Deathfly attacks CYBERFROG. Oh, no, wait, what? Oh, Creed comes up out of Heather's bed like Freddy Krueger and starts choking her. You could do this back then. Wait, who would want to eat Ben Reilly? Robert Munoz. Ben Reilly is a character that I created at the same time that Marvel created their Ben Reilly. It's a really weird thing. My Reilly is spelled R-I-L-E-Y. I had this character in print, and then suddenly they had theirs. So I don't really understand. Yeah, but I didn't change it. Justin Sane says interview request Eastman and or Laird. Oh, great idea. Yeah, I think I'm going to see them at a convention soon, and maybe I'll do that. I would like to talk to them about the Turtles. Trent Kanuga actually got to do a Creed versus the Ninja Turtles crossover once, which was terrific. I was very envious. I would love to draw the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I would absolutely love it. I think it would be very fun. Oh, so we cut to a splash page by me, a 2-page spread that you have to turn sideways. Why? Why do we do things like this? Why do we do little, what is this happy little Joe Quesada kind of, I don't know, layout here? I don't know. Heather Swain in her underpants. That's not cool. It's very sexist. Don't need to do that. She could have been wearing sweatpants. I don't know why we have to show ass. Don't know. That was just the 90s. And here is Ben Reilly on his Egyptian throne in hell. He's dead. They killed him. So he is in hell. Let's see what you guys are saying. Yeah, she does have breasts. That is weird. I heard Eastman and Laird don't interact anymore. That's too bad. Runaway Rocket says, hey dude, if you could live in any video game world, which one would it be and what would your character do in the world? Runaway Rocket, great question. I would live in Dead Rising 1, and I would probably just, I don't know, I would run around and kill zombies. I would love it. I would live in that mall forever. And when I play my Xbox 360, that's kind of what I do. I'll just I'll play in infinity mode and just live in that world. I love it. Let's see. Yeah. Unicycle Peon says, why not show ass? Just start drawing male ass if you can't draw female ass. I noticed people started doing that. I thought it was really weird. Like they started doing these male rear end shots, like of Nightwing and even Hal Jordan. And I'd be like, well, what are you doing? What? No, stop. Oh, it's for the ladies. No. Stop it. Yeah. Yeah, people don't sleep fully clothed. Look at these tentacles. Again, I'm doing the same thing here. I'm breaking up like little, yeah, looks good. I should do that texture again. I forgot about that texture. And these cobwebs that you carefully draw. Carefully draw out the cobwebs. Roger Wheel says, Ethan, you need to draw the turtles. All right, I will. Look at this wonderful Trent Kanuga CyberFrog splash page here. Look at all the little demons coming at CyberFrog from Creed's world. And look at I love the way he draws. I love the quirkiness of it. I can't even think of another word to describe it. It's just so cool. And because like he was there with me from the start, like he was one of the few guys who could actually draw CyberFrog and make him look like CyberFrog. And we had a lot of artists draw CyberFrog, and none of them could get him right. But Trent did. Trent did a great job. Even the back of his head is correct. And look at the detail of this little Creed with Ben Reilly's amulet. I mean, this is the perfect crossover. Like CyberFrog is fighting Creed's villains, and then like Creed has been taken over by CyberFrog's villain. Oh, look at that face there. Oh, I just need to give him red lips. Yeah. Nice. Oh, look, Creed becomes Deathfly. That's so funky. Look at his hands. Look at the stars that he put all around. It's so good. Oh, Trent. I need to get you back into comics, buddy. Look at this surprise CyberFrog face. Oh, yeah, he was I love Trent. He was awesome. No, there was never a Turtles CyberFrog crossover. There should have been, but there never was. And look at this. I mean, it's unexpected. Like, the way he draws was always just completely unexpected. He's got to draw CyberFrog punching Deathfly Creed, and he just, like that. It's just, yeah, it's like, wow. I mean, really cool. Great dynamic shot here. And he's even kind of, look at this, he's doing this checkerboard thing here that I did. He said, "Pain? What do you know of pain? I've had my heart yanked out of my chest and stomped on too many times to count." Cyberfrog prepares to punch him again and says, "Tell it to the psychiatrist." No empathy. No empathy. Yeah. Good stuff. Oh, and so then Disorder and Ben Riley, who look exactly the same when Trent draws them, decide to get together and come to Manhattan. So, Creed's name when he's Deathfly is Schizophrensy. It sounds like an Alfred Hitchcock movie. That's great. Schizophrensy. So something opens up in the sky, and then here they come. This is just like every Marvel movie, how they end. Something opens up in the sky, and then comes down into the city. And here's Ben Riley. He's got Heather locked up in rock. And we've got Creed. Look, we've got all kinds of problems here. And Creed actually says to him, he says, "Tell me, who's your daddy now, biatch?" That is the 90s. Who's your daddy now, biatch? Yeah. You guys, if you missed the 90s, you didn't really miss the 90s. Do a Cyberfrog Turtles crossover. Help IDW claw that 93% loss back. Damn. Oh. Yeah, that's a shame. That is a shame. Yeah. That's all right. They'll borrow some more money. All will be well. IDW was the only company I ever rage quit, by the way. I don't think I ever said that out loud to you guys. I've never quit a job before that I can think of out of just like anger. And I was doing, they wanted me to do Star Trek Green Lantern covers. And I remember, why was it a problem? The editor was horrible. I mean, just horrible. Thanks again for another super chat, Justin saying, "I'm out for the night. Thanks again, Uncle Eth DuckTales reference from the 90s. Good, thank you. DuckTales was good." Yeah, so they wanted me to do these Green Lantern Star Trek covers, and it was completely unprofessional. I've never had anything like that happen before, where the editor was telling me things that weren't, it was just odd. And I finally said, "You know what, I said, I quit. You're nuts. I quit." And somebody from IDW contacted me and said, what happened? I said, "This editor is incompetent beyond belief. I mean, I've never ever worked with someone who had absolutely no idea what was going on the way I have with this editor. I can't even do one cover for this person. I can't even get one cover done because of just the weird messages that are coming out from this editor." And he said, "Oh, well," and I said, "All right, I don't care. I'm never working for IDW again." And I never have. So that was my IDW experience. I've never actually done that. Like, I've just been like rage quitting something. Comics Legend says, "EVS, in one of your interviews you mentioned you never wrote a story for comics. Can you confirm you actually did write comics, Cyberfrog being one of them?" Yeah, I did, but this is just goofy. I can't like look at this and say, yeah, I wrote comics before. It's just, it's silliness, you know. I can't I don't want you to go, "I wonder what Ethan's writing is like," and then go find this and then figure it out. Like, this isn't good. I have written, but I haven't written anything that I want you to feel like represents me. Look at this nice shot of Cyberfrog jumping in midair, legs splayed. Very Spider-Man. Everything's very Spider-Man. Oh, by the way, and this can't, look at this ring, okay? It's like Cyberfrog, I guess, like put time bombs in this building. This is from the Star Wars A New Hope special edition. Remember when the Death Star exploded and they added that ring around the explosion? I thought that was actually pretty good. Yeah. And then look, Creed is falling. Look at Deathfly Creed. He's so cute. This was my chance to draw him here. Oh, I got to draw him here too. I got to draw his little face. His possessed little face. But this is actually... Oh, you can see his tummy too. Oh, look at Creed's little tummy. And he's got his amulet, cinder blocks everywhere, and he falls right in his butt. And Cyberfrog's behind him. He's like, "So where did he go? He didn't really surrender, did he?" And Cyberfrog's like right behind him. He's like, "You wish, bitch." He's like, "Uh-oh, I'm in trouble now, aren't you? Or aren't I?" Ooh, that's bad. That eye right there is messed up. He says, right now we have bigger, smellier fish to fry. What's with the fish in this? I don't know what all the fish references. And look, it's literally the Soul Train. Like, this is a train from hell. And it's got Heather in it. It's got Disorder. It's got Ben Reilly. And it's flying in from a hole in the sky. And, yeah, they've got a passageway to reality. You can see the buildings are warped behind them. Bad news for CyberFrog and Mark, and also Heather, who is saying, CyberFrog, help me. You know what? I will say this about this book. This art is consistent all the way through. There isn't a point where I'm slacking off. I mean, I don't think it's very good. It's certainly the best CyberFrog art that I've seen. But I'm consistent all the way through. I think mostly because I know I'm playing next to Trent Kanuga, and I'm trying not to look like I suck too bad. He said, bring it on. He's got his claws popped. Yeah, this was fun to get to draw Creed. And, really, it was a chance to also prepare to draw Impulse. It's funny that I went on to do that. Look at Heather in her underpants again, falling out of the train. They're just blasting the hell out of the train. And here's my version of Trent's villain, Disorder, trying to do this chunky thing that he does with his hair. Not very successfully. And CyberFrog just takes the amulet and crushes it, and it sends him right back to hell. That is the easiest way to end a story and dispatch with villains, by the way. It's just whatever it is that's keeping them here, just get rid of it. And, yeah, we're back to normal again. Creed's feeling bad. Trent's book, Creed, was so emo. Like, I swear to God, like, this guy used to just sit around and mope about a girl he really liked. And CyberFrog was just kind of like a lot more kind of macho. And I don't know, like a lot more like, I don't need you. I mean, maybe he was covering for some insecurities and some feelings that he had. But Creed was always like, oh. He's like, whatever. What's wrong, Mark? You don't look very happy. He's like, oh, it's nothing. I made a big mess tonight. I feel like a complete jerk dragging you all to hell and all that. I'm very sorry. Heather just says, it's okay. I just wish. And CyberFrog picks him up by the underpants, and he's like, are you finished whining? Jesus on a pogo stick. Heather, can I toss this kid to his bloody death or what? And she's like, Froggy, don't you dare. Put him down this instant. Hey, no. Right, he lives another day. So that actually cracks me up. That's a great panel. You had to be there. You had to actually be reading Creed at the time and just go, oh my God, will you ever stop whinging? So emo. And then he's like, oh, there's Mary down there. She didn't ditch me after all. And there he's going to run to make his date with Mary. CyberFrog and Heather are aghast. He's like, without her, I'm just a guy without a dream. I've got to get to her. Heather says, welcome to reality, Mark. And CyberFrog says, click those heels together, freak. That's enough, Froggy. The end. There you go. And that was really a strange, one of the strangest crossover books I think I've ever seen. Here you can get, you can order my variant covers, Frogapalooza, okay, stuff. There's my variant cover with CyberFrog over the dead body of Kurt Cobain. This was the 90s. That's a rare cover, very, very rare cover. And it says corporate comics still suck in his shoulder blade. Ironically, I would go on to work for DC Comics for 20 years, so yeah. And then here's Trent's alternate cover, which I absolutely love. Great colors. And Trent actually wrote in here, Trent Kanuga balls out. So this is Trent going full tilt here at the time. Yeah, I mean, just, I don't know. Okay, so Akashic Soldier, thank you for the super chat. Why does the kid only have 3 fingers? I do not know, but that is the case. He did only have 3 fingers and a thumb when Trent drew him. And I really wanted to stay true to that for Trent. I didn't want to draw him with 4 fingers when he had 3. Hey, Momo is here. Mohammed Al-Shabani. Did I pronounce it right? Shabani? I just said Shabani. Who is the artist behind today's Brutally Honest Portfolio Review, number 9. If you're listening to this, get back and watch that video and take a look at his artwork. It was extraordinary. Certainly much better than this. Much, much better. And people are saying Momo's art was the best reviewed so far. I agree. I looked at it, Momo, when I opened up your your email with your art in it. I opened it up and I said, "Oh no, it's good. It might be too good for what I need to do. I kind of need to be able to say, hey, fix this, fix that, fix that." I thought, I mean, that was kind of my instinct. But in fact, doing a brutally honest portfolio review for a perfect portfolio ended up being kind of good for people, because you can actually talk not about what they're doing wrong, but what they're doing right. And that is ended up being, I think, helpful for people, and also very refreshing. I don't want to just seem like I'm picking at people all the time. Some of the portfolios I open up, I've opened up 3 of them, guys, that were so bad, and I mean just so bad. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I don't know what I would say. Brutally honest, like, you draw like a 3-year-old. I can't help you. Like, is that a video that you guys would ever want to watch? I don't think so. So it's actually kind of good to get to whoa, thank you, Akashic Soldier, big super chat, I think, back pay for skimping on Patreon. That's very kind of you. Patreon tomorrow, guys. Patreon begins tomorrow. What I'm going to do, there are links in all my videos to my Patreon if you haven't subscribed yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make my screen that thanks all of the Patreon donors. So your name will be on. I'm just going to put your first name and last initial. It's nobody's business that you're, a Patreon donor necessarily. But I do want to thank you guys in every video that I do henceforth. But also my Patreon, I have a brother named Noah Van Skyver, and his last name is the same as mine because he is my brother. So my brother Noah, he had a Patreon for a little while that he was using really, really well. He was doing a comic book about us, frankly, about our family. And he would do a page every day, maybe a page every other day, and he would post it there. And it was only available to the patrons, I would say. I think if you're a patron, if you're on Patreon. So it was only available to his patrons. And it was kind of worth it. So you would drop in $1 every month. If you were more generous, you would offer more to my little brother. But it was basically like, hey, you're paying for the comic book that you're about to read in a serialized kind of daily form. I think that's a terrific idea. And drawing Rainbow Brute is fun. I think what I would like to do is I would like to do a serialized Rainbow Brute story that I can do my way. See, the thing about it is I was discussing at the beginning of this video, if some of you weren't here, Rainbow Brute is going to feature my take on real girls' toy properties, like you've seen the Care Bears. I have been saying for years that the Care Bears were badass, and nobody knew what I was talking about. I've said for years that the Care Bears should be these kind of bestial gods of children's emotions that live in the clouds, and they should be scary. So you got a glimpse of my grumpy bear and what he looks like. I would like to continue to do that. I would like to, find these old properties that you might have forgotten about from the 1980s and have them all kind of exist in this one world in the clouds. And Rainbow Brute, the story is going to be that Rainbow Brute, his sister has been kidnapped, and he's got to go on a quest to find her. And guess who his sister is? Come on now. But if I do this as kind of like just a Patreon thing, like just as a fan art kind of thing, I'm pretty sure I can get away with using these characters as, parody. I don't know. Watchman wants to know if there will be lots of women ass shots in it. No. No, none that I can think of. I'd have to think about that. It could happen. But yeah, so characters like Teddy Ruxpin, would be in this. And what is Teddy Ruxpin like? Characters like the Cabbage Patch Kids will be in this, and not the Garbage Pail Kids. That's a parody of Cabbage Patch Kids. I would actually do the Cabbage Patch Kids, and you would see what they were in this real world. People are asking now about booty shots. Eddie Stevens is asking about CyberFrog question mark question mark question mark. At such point when I'm able to, I'm going to kickstart a CyberFrog series, I think. I'm flirting with it right now, guys. I don't know. But I mean, for a long time, I've wanted to do my own book, and I own CyberFrog. I have 4 or 5 other ideas. I want to do my own thing. I could do my own thing at DC. I don't know if I could do CyberFrog at DC. I was going to do it at Wildstorm, but Wildstorm kind of folded. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe I'm going to try a Kickstarter. I've seen these people. I looked at Kickstarter and I'm just like, I don't know, man. I think my Kickstarter could do pretty good. Just based on what I'm seeing here. Big creative ideas. And then just be able to do whatever I want to do and say whatever I want to say. And, put out comics that are so close to the fans. When I was doing CyberFrog, I had a fan mail address, and I would actually get direct messages from the fans. It was very intimate. It was very personal. It was just me and you guys, and it was just so much more fun. Nasser13 says, why not use Image? Well, Nasser, why not use Kickstarter and then Image? That's the thing. Like, it still costs money. Here's the thing that people don't understand about Image. Image is not like DC or Marvel. Image is just a brand that you can rent. That's why people who are upset about certain people who work for Image who have said some kind of offensive things recently, they're like, why won't Image punish or chastise this person? It's just not the way Image is. Like, there's nobody to punish or chastise them. Here's the way Image works. You take CyberFrog over to Image and you say, will you publish this? And they look at it real quick and they say, yeah, this is a good enough book to be published through Image. Like, it just has to be good enough. And if it's good enough, then you pay them, I think it's $2,500 per issue. So it's $2,500 per issue. That's what you give them. And then you give them all the material. They put the book together for you. They print it. They solicit it. It's under the Image eye. It has a big Image eye on the cover, so you're under a brand name label. And then you basically, after that $2,500, you get 100% of the profits. You own 100% of your comic book property. You own it. Image doesn't own anything. So they're basically a non-profit publisher. At any time, you can just say, you know what, Image isn't working for me. I'm going to go take CyberFrog over to Dynamite or something like that. And that's perfectly fine. Image is just a label that you're renting, and they're doing a little bit of work for you. But it's not like there's a voice of Image. It's not like there's, anyone there who's going to say, if you don't straighten out, you're fired. They're not Marvel or DC. What you would do is you would just say, hey, I'm going to do a CyberFrog book. I'm going to kickstart it. And then I'm going to take the money from the Kickstarter and I'm going to apply it towards printing the CyberFrog book. Like, if I could raise enough money, I'd need to pay the colorist. I'd need to pay the Image cost. And then I would want to do variant covers. I might hire David Finch, Steve McNiven, my friends, to do covers for the book. Variant covers. Maybe I'd want to do a glossy cover or a chromium cover. Variant covers that are only for Kickstarters, people who donated. So that's what I would do. But then I would let Image put it out once it was done. What do you guys think of that idea? Altern is a good company, but their newsprint thing, it's good. It's cheap comics. I don't want to do cheap comics. I want to do expensive comics. I want to do comics that are exciting. Well, that are colored and on nice paper. Yeah. It's just publish at Marvel so I can buy at least one Marvel book. That'd be interesting. Yeah, see, there's Boom, there's Dynamite. But anyway, that's the whole thing. Like, you kickstart it, and then you go publish it wherever you want, and then you just say, I have this money to go into the production of this book. I'm not Tyler says Vox Day says he will publish it. Yeah, I know. That'd be fine. And Momo says, if I had oil money, I'd send it your way to publish your work. Thanks, Momo. Find oil. You're in the right part of the world for it. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining me. I think we've been going for an hour. Okay, slightly more than an hour. That's great. When are we going to get action figures for CyberFrog? That's another good idea. I mean, that's what Kickstarter is. Like, I started to look at what other people were doing on Kickstarter, and I'm just like, I mean, look, I could kickstart CyberFrog toys. Of course I could. And I still have the CyberFrog prototype that Playmates Toys made. Do you guys want to see it? Hang on, I'll go get it. I think I have it. Oh, here it is. Here's the unpainted CyberFrog prototype made in 1997 for a CyberFrog toy line that was going to come out alongside the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And look at that. I mean, does that not look exactly like my character or what? So, I mean, I could actually fix this up, I don't know, and do a new CyberFrog toy line to go along with the book. Cool. Yeah, unfortunately, he's been around, and his shoulder blades, I still have them, but they broke off. I need to get them fixed. So these big kind of things that were used to be on his shoulders, but I need to fix it. So, yeah. So, I mean, that kind of thing is easy. I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like now might be the time. Yeah, super glue it. I don't know. I'll find like a sculptor who could put it together and then, redo it. I wanted him to have a tongue. Like, you know those stretchy things that you can buy out of vending machines? It's like it would have a hand on it and a long stretchy kind of rubber thing, and you would stretch it and it would smack a piece of paper and grab it. I would want to do that. Like, I'd want to put a tongue like that in his mouth. So you could actually make him shoot his tongue out and grab something. It would be cool. Yeah. All right, guys. Anything else? Yeah, you guys were great tonight. I really appreciate you coming out. I know I don't do these chats often enough. I'm going to try to do them more frequently. I want to stay in touch with you guys. Thank you so much for the support of my channel. Thank you so much for the support of my Patreon, which is just unreal. It makes doing, all of the content that I'm doing a lot easier, a lot more affordable for my family. I can't believe how big my channel's gotten. I'm at now, I think, 13,300 subscribers. I was hoping to get to 10,000 by April. And there are channels out there that have been around for much longer that I am gaining on. I owe it all to you guys. I'm seriously grateful. I love you guys very, very much. And all your support, it's just fun. It's fun to stay connected and communicate with you guys through this medium. Thank God for YouTube. Okay. With that, I'll let you go. I'm sure other people are going to do some chats tonight, so I don't want to hold you up. You guys have a great night, and I will talk to you soon.